I'm Katrina, this is Tare, and today I'm just going to chat with you guys about rabbits and how I cook them while I do what I'm doing. I'll show you what I'm doing, then I'll come back to the topic. This is one way I cook rabbits, in a pressure cooker, and you just put a little bit of water in the bottom. They come out like that. There's 3 in there. Yes, I have a ginormous pressure cooker. It is a New Wave. I've taken some of them out, put them on here. This is just chunks of rabbit, and they come off super nicely and tender. And then I am putting them on freeze drying trays so I can freeze dry them. So I told you guys I'm going to be doing some videos that are easy for me to edit, so this is one of them. Doing something that I need to get done and talking with you guys. So one of the ways you can cook rabbits is in a pressure cooker, and if you have a pressure canner, you can use that as a pressure cooker as well. I have a small Instapot, and then I also have a larger New Wave, and they both work the same. The New Wave one that I have is huge, it's 13 quarts, and I really like having one that size. However, after I got that, I decided to get an Instapot because I wanted to get one that was smaller, just because I don't always need it to be that big. And so that is one way to cook rabbit. In a typical Instapot, if you freeze a rabbit so that all their legs are together, you know, they're like this, then you can actually plop them in there for a frozen and go for like, I think it's like 35 minutes or something. And it'll be cooked and good and nice and juicy when it comes out. If you're gonna do, you can do it non-frozen too. So it is a very quick way to do that. I think I did a video on that once before. However, it's not, in my opinion, it's not the best way. In my opinion, the best way is to roast it in some sort of liquid. So like you have some sort of sauce, or you have a marinade, or you know, something like that, and it works great. Now, I have been using the Instapot, I have been using the pressure cooker a lot lately, and that's mostly because of time. So I haven't had a whole lot of time. So it's really easy to cook a lot of meat in the pressure cooker very quickly. You put it in, you walk away, and there you go. So I'm just separating this meat out. It's very similar to if you were to put a chicken in an Instapot or in a crock pot. It falls apart pretty easily. It's not mush. You can cook it to mush if you cook it too long, but it's not mush. And I mean, you can see it separates really well. And so that's one of the ways I cook rabbit. Other ways, when I have a rabbit and you know, I'm packaging them up for freezing, I recently have been packaging them whole, and the reason for that, again, is saving time. Now, what I like to have is all the back legs in one container, not all of them, but you know, several back legs in one container, and so all, you know, several front legs in one container. You know, keeping those groups together, you know, so you have all the backs together. That way they cook evenly. So if you try and cook a front leg with a back leg, you're gonna have some uneven cooking. Your front leg's gonna be done way before the back leg's done, and so that's something to pay attention to if you are packaging up your rabbits. And so what I do, I vacuum seal them, and if I freeze them, I vacuum seal them, and so I cook them up. What I like to do, I don't always have time to do, is to part them up. Now, I have 3 videos that I did a lot earlier. My camera wasn't the greatest, but it is a really good set of videos, I think. So I'll link those up here. The next 3 videos up there are going to be basically how to part out a rabbit a couple different ways, and then also how to get the most meat off of your rabbit. So those are things I would reference you to. I will probably redo those at some point, not today. And yeah, so those will give you a good starting point. It's also good to know if you are going to cut the meat off the bone, which one of those videos is that, knowing what the bones look like is kind of important, because if you know what the bones look like, you kind of know where to cut. And just my experience, and again, you can watch those videos, but my experience, the front leg is not connected to anything, but it has this scapula. And this really weird triangle shape bone is a little difficult to cut around. It's really just awkward. So what I've gone to when I do part out my rabbits is I just freeze those all together. I ignore cutting the bone out of those, and I just freeze them together. The back legs, the back, the belly flaps, those are all super easy to kind of separate out. And so I just don't bother with the front legs because it's just going to take forever to do. And we all know how important time is. So, one way that's really good is to roast your rabbit. If you slow roast it in the oven, that's a really good idea. If you want to roast it in the oven, like if you want to marinate it first, that will give it a little extra juice. And so something important when cooking your rabbit, rabbit is different than chicken in that you skin your rabbits, right? So it is basically cooked like a skinless chicken. So if you have skinless chicken breast, that's how you cook it. If you have skinless bone-in chicken breasts, that's how you would cook rabbit with the bone in. So it really wants to evaporate that moisture because it doesn't have the skin. And so if you can prevent that from happening by covering it, by having it in a liquid, by marinating it, by doing one of those, prevention, do some prevention activities, then that will really improve your meal. So you can cook it in a sauce, you can, cover it any way that you can keep the moisture in, you're going to have a better effect, better end product. And if you are having trouble with toughness, like if your meat is just really tough, you should be resting your meat before it goes into the freezer or before you eat it. So all mammals go through what's called rigor mortis, and after the animal dies, all the muscles stiffen, and that's a very natural thing. Every mammal does it. And if you kind of think about roadkill you've seen on the side of the road, with the legs straight out, that happens with all mammals. And so if you let the rabbit go through that process, it will relax. And once it's gone through that process and relaxes, that is when you're going to have tender meat. Before that point, if you can get to it before the rigor starts, some people do eat them right away. If you can get it to them before the rigor starts and cook them up to eat, then I have heard that is still okay. I haven't done that. I've always rested them. Now, how do you rest them? I rest mine in a cooler, or you can do the fridge. I rest mine in a cooler, and they basically are in ice water for 4 days, sometimes 5, because weekends. But 4 days is about how long it takes a rabbit to go through rigor mortis. If you're familiar with doing quail take 24 to 48 hours. So I usually give it 2 days for quail. What you want to do though, if you do that route, is to change the water. And it's best if you change it daily. If you go, especially the first day is extra important. So if you have it 24 hours, change the water out, because the blood is going to be in the water and it will give your meat a different taste if you don't change it. I mean, it's gonna rot some. So anyway, that is my recommendation. And you should be able to move, like the legs and stuff, you should be able to move them freely. And if you touch the meat, it should give to your hand really, really easily. And so that's something that I think a lot of people miss and maybe don't understand, that yes, it will get tender if you wait. Some people who I guess like the more gamey flavor like to dry age. And so if you put that in the refrigerator, cover it and put it in the refrigerator for the same amount of time, that will dry age. And what that does is the same exact thing, except you will have a lot more of the blood in it. So when it is in water, if you do that method, the water kind of leaches out some of the blood, and you don't get that if you dry age. So it totally depends on your own tastes and how you want to do things, but there's some options there for you. And then options in cooking. I mean, you can cook it exactly how you would cook any chicken, and just realize that it would be a skinless chicken. And whether you take the bones out or leave them in, just think about any chicken recipe that you would do and substitute rabbit, and it's wonderful. So that works for me. It'll work for you. And currently I am freeze drying a bunch of rabbit, and it's actually my first time freeze drying meat. I actually I've had my freeze dryer for a while. It hasn't done meat yet though. I've done mostly fruits and some vegetables. Man, you do it when it's hot, right? So that is what I'm doing. Let's see if there's anything else. If you guys have questions about cooking rabbit or anything like that, also I have a playlist. I'll put a link to the playlist up here called Cook With Me, and that has a lot of rabbit videos on it. Has other things too, but it's just cooking from stuff in the garden and some stuff not. So we can see you over there, and then if you have any questions about cooking rabbit, or maybe you're having an issue, first check out those videos that I put in the cards at the beginning, because I think those will help you to kind of know where to cut and stuff when you are parting things out. And then go ahead and put a comment in the bottom, and if you would like, encourage people to cook rabbit, go ahead and put your favorite recipe in the comments, and that will be beneficial to everybody. So all right, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I was able to get a little chat in while I am doing this. My hands are all yucky. And yeah. Oh, one more thing I have to tell you. The toughest part on a rabbit to eat, not like tough as in texture, is the belly flaps. So those are the abs, right? So if you're doing crunches and obliques and all that stuff, you may know that we have two different muscles in our abs. One has muscle fibers that go this way, the other has muscle fibers that go this way. And so when you cut meat, you are supposed to cut, so here's the fibers, you're supposed to cut against the grain. And that makes it kind of bunch up and be more juicy. And so if you have you know, muscle like this, muscle like that, it's really, really hard to make a cut that makes it tender. What I have found that works the best for me for that cut, I completely separate it from the rest of the rabbit. I marinate it. Once it's marinated, I steam it. And that has worked pretty darn well for me. So I hope it works for you. All right, now I think that's it. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed listening to me talk while I'm doing this. I'll probably do another one right after this on a different subject. We'll see. And anyway, hit the like if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Watch more of the rabbit videos and have a wonderful day. Thank you for watching.